Hi, in this video we are going to see about if control structures. Before we go into if, let us understand what do you mean by a control structure. So control structure controls the flow of execution of the program. Say for example a C program, when I execute it, it starts from main and gets executed one statement after another. It's in a sequence. Now when I'm going to use a control structure, I'll be able to control the flow of the execution. I can say only if this condition is true, you execute a set of statements. Otherwise, just ignore it. So this is what we call it as a control structure. So it's going to control the flow of execution of the program. There are different control structures available. This video talks about only the if control structure. There are various forms of if statements. We start with simple if. So when we talk about the simple if, let us first begin with the syntax. The syntax of simple if is a keyword, if within brackets the condition. If this condition is true, then you execute the statements inside this braces. So this belongs to if block. This if block will be executed only if the condition is true. Now, what does this braces indicate? All statements inside this opening and closing braces are part of this if. Say for example, in the main program, we start with the main function, we start with a brace, end with a brace. Everything inside that brace is the main block. Similarly here, this braces tells that there is a block. So if this condition is true, only then the statements will be executed. Otherwise, the execution will move to this place, right? The second form of if is if else. That is, if the condition is true, execute the true block. If this condition is false, execute the else block. Let me repeat it again. If this condition is true, execute the true block. If this condition is false, execute the else block. Okay, I mean a block is whatever is within the curly brackets. Fine. Now, if else, this is a third form of if statement. Let us see this. So, if the condition is true, the statements inside this block will be executed. If this condition is false, then it moves to this condition. Okay. If this condition is false and this condition is false, it will move to the next else if. Say for example, if this condition is true, it will execute this if block and it will not go into these else blocks, right? If all these conditions are false, if all the conditions are false, only then it goes to this else block. So this else block contains the statements which will be executed if all the above conditions are false. Right. Now let us see why do we need a if, why do we need a if else if, and why do we need if else. Say for example, I have got only one option, that is I will have to check whether this number is positive. Okay, I have a number now. I wanted to check whether the number is positive. Okay, so in that case, if the number is positive, execute these statements. That's it. Say for example, if the number is 5, the 5 is positive. That's the condition. Then execute the statements. So how do I check whether it is positive? If the number is greater than equal to 0, then it is positive, right? So in that case, so if you have only one condition to be checked, in that case I go for a simple if. In the case of if else, say for example, I want to check whether a given number is positive or negative. So what does it mean? If the number is not positive, it is negative. Correct? If the number is positive, it is not negative. That is, a number can be either positive or negative. Cannot be this both. Sorry. A number can be positive or negative at a time. It cannot be both positive and negative at a time, right? So we have two options. A number could be either positive or negative, but not both at the same time. Okay, so if the number is greater than 0, in that case, this block will be executed. Okay, so if the number is positive, this block will be executed. If the number is not positive, else block will be executed, right? So when do we go for if else? If we have two choices and only one choice will occur at a time. In that case, it's better we go for if else. Okay, if I want to check whether a given number is odd or even. So what are the choices here? Odd, even. But a number cannot be both odd as well as even at the time. Correct? So we have two choices and both the choices will not be satisfied at a particular point of time. So we go for if else. So what will I say? If the number is even, the condition is what? How do I check whether a number is even? A number is divisible by 2. That is, when I divide a number by 2, the remainder should be 0. Correct? How do I find the remainder? The mods operator, the modulus operator, percentage. Correct? So if the number percentage 2 is equal to 0, that's the condition. The number percentage 2 equal to 0 is the condition. So if the number when I divide by 2 gives the remainder 0, I will print it is even. Okay. If the number divided by 2 gives a remainder not equal to 0, I will go to the else part. Right? So if else, let me repeat it again. I have two choices, but only one choice will be true at a time. In that case, we go for if else. Okay, that is what is if else. The next, if else if else. So, if we have more than two options and only one option will be true at a time, then in that case we go for if else if. Say for example, let us take traffic signal. So, we have three options. The signal can be red, green or yellow, which can also be called as amber color. If the signal is red, you will have to stop. Else, if the signal is green, you can go. Else, you will have to wait. Right? So that's how we have three choices here, more than two choices. It could be, the signal can be either red or green or amber, yellow, but it will not be more than one color at the same time. Correct? In that case, we'll go for if else if. Let me repeat it again. If the signal is red, you will have to stop. Okay? Else, if the signal is green, you can go. Else, you will have to wait. So, if the signal is not red and green, I can just go to else part. I need not check whether the signal is yellow because it's neither green nor red. So, it should be yellow. Okay, that's common sense. So, I need not write again else if. Okay, so if all the above conditions are false, then your else part gets executed. Correct? So, if else, when do we use it? When we have multiple choices, it is more than two options and only one option will be true at a point of time. Okay, in that case we go for if else if. What is the advantage? That is, if the first condition is true, it will not check the remaining condition. So I am saving the time. If I just use simple if, I will write if the signal is red, stop. Again another if the signal is green, go. Another if the signal is amber, you will have to wait, get ready. Fine. So it checks if the signal is red, then it will stop. Now I need not check whether the signal is green or amber. But what happens, I put it in separate if conditions, right? So it checks all the if, which is just waste of time and it is not efficient way of doing the program. That's why we go for if else if. If one of the conditions is true, the following conditions will not be checked. Okay. Now this is a program to find whether one number is greater than the other number, or the number is less than the other number, or it is equal to other number. So I have three options here. I have two numbers, number 1 and number 2. Okay. So I need two variables here. When I am declaring the variable as integer, I am initializing value to it. So we call it as initialization. Variable declaration and initialization. You can see this double slash, that is I have used comment. So what are comments? It's for documenting, it's for the understanding. So when anyone sees this program, this statement and a comment, when you read the comment, you know, oh, this is declaration and initialization. So it enhances our understanding. Okay, so you will have to write appropriate comments wherever necessary. When I put this two slashes, I can write single line comments. Only one line I can write a comment. Whereas if I want to write multi-line comments, in that case I should start with a slash asterisk, write all the comments, then close it with asterisk slash. Okay, now let us come to the program. So I have two numbers, number 1 and number 2. I should check whether number 1 is greater than number 2. Another condition, number 1 is less than number 2. Another condition, number 1 is equal to number 2. Fine. So I am just trying to use simple ifs so that you will understand the difference between the ifs. So the first condition, if this condition is true. Say for example, let us take these values. So 2 is greater than 20. Is the condition true? No, definitely 2 is not greater than 20. So this is false. So this block will not be executed. It moves on to next if. 2 is less than 20, is it right? Yes, 2 is less than 20. The condition is true. So it prints the place of first percentage D. Number 2 will be printed. The place of this number 1, the second argument will be printed. So what it will print? Number 2, that is 20 is greater than 2. Okay, now I have checked this. Now again I will check, is 2 equal to 20? No, 2 is not equal to 20. So this is what I said. We have multiple choices, right? We have 3 choices. And only one choice will be true. So it will be true at a time. So if I have two numbers 2 and 20, 2 is less than 20. That's the only choice which is true at this time. So in that case, please remember, here this condition is false. Now it moves on to the second condition. This is true, it prints. So I need not check this condition, but what happens? I'm wasting the execution time by checking this condition. Instead of writing like this, what can we use? Very good. If, else. So same program, if I write using if, else, if. Just see it. If number 1 greater than number 2. Else, if number 1 less than number 2. Else, this. So what it will do, it will check this first condition. The first condition is false, right? 2 greater than 20, it is false. Okay, so in that case, it will move on to this second one. Now 2 is less than 20, correct? The condition is true. So it will print 20 is greater than 2. Now it will not go to this else part. So you're saving your execution time. You're not checking every condition here. Okay, can you understand? So when do we go for if else? Your choice is more than two and only one choice will be satisfied at a point of time. In that case, we go for if else. Okay. Now I want to find the biggest number among three numbers, the greatest number among three numbers. Okay. Now what do? We need three numbers first of all. Okay, I have just written an algorithm, a pseudocode for this. You try to write a C program for this. Okay, so you're going to get the input of three numbers. So once you get the input, I should check which number is the greatest. So what I will do, see, just think manually. If you are given three numbers, what you will do? You will take the first number, check whether first number is greater than second number and first number is greater than third number. Correct? So in that case, first number is the greatest. Right? Else, so if this condition is false, what do you mean by that? First number is greater than second number and first number is greater than third number. If this condition is false, what do I understand? Definitely, one of these conditions is false. That is, either first number is less than the second number or first number is less than the third number. So now first number is not the greatest. Can we find out, right? So we can understand that the first number is not the greatest. So I can just leave off the first number. Now from the second and the third number, I should check which one is the greatest. So if this condition is false, I understand first number is not the greatest. In that case, I'll go to the second else if. Now, if second number is greater than third number, in that case, second number is the greatest. If this is false, in that case, third number is the greatest. Correct? Yes, can you understand this? So, if this condition fails, you understand here, first number is not the greatest. In that case, we go to the second condition. If second number is greater than third number, second is the greatest. If this is false, the third is the greatest. Correct? Can you understand this? So try to write a C program using this algorithm. Fine. Now I'm just giving this to you just for your learning. You just try to understand it. If you don't understand, that's fine. Just leave it for time being. We'll continue this in the next video. Thank you all.